What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Bubba Speed Career Mode in MotoGP 20. And after a completely disastrous performance in Silverstone, of course, the English Grand Prix, it is time for us to head over to Thailand, which is definitely one that I like a lot more. It's a track in general I like more. It's going to be colorful, so it's not going to be some bullshit like Silverstone. So I believe that we have what it takes to go and actually get a nice little win here, because I think we've actually won here before. I don't remember if it was in Moto3 last season or the season prior, but I do feel like Thailand is a track where we can actually go and do pretty damn well. It's a track I really like, actually, which is surprising because a lot of the newer tracks I end up hating, just because I just feel like they don't really blend in well with the classic ones. And this one I feel like actually does a decent job of that. You start off with this long looping right-hander, and I don't know, it's just a fun track to play on in general. So it's not necessarily the most technical of tracks, but among the new ones, or the newer ones, I would definitely say this is probably the best one. I love this corner right here. You can come out of it really nicely, and then these next couple of turns, I don't know, I really like this sector. So I think that's probably what wins me over, is that they have one or two sectors which is just really fun. So yeah, I actually am really happy about this track, which is, like I said, very surprising. It's a short track too, so that's a nice addition to a lot of the longer tracks that they have around this part of the calendar. So definitely excited about having to go through a track that I enjoy, that's not quite as long, which means we're going to do 6 laps, I think. And yeah, it's just a track that I'm very pleasantly surprised with, and I would love to know what you guys think of this track in the comment section down below. I've been trying to see your opinions a lot more as of late, in terms of the tracks themselves, and I really am hoping that you guys will start, giving me some more feedback on what you think of the tracks and the specific bikes and stuff like that as time goes on, because it's all fine and dandy to have it in the group, but I would love to see it in my community as well. So hopefully we can have that growing a little bit more. Alright, so we finished on pole, which is very good. Definitely, I would say, something I expected coming into this weekend, though. And if we can get, this is another track where it's really important to get a good start, because you have a very small distance between the start and the first corner. Now I'm going to try to keep it a little bit outside, because as you can see, somebody's going to be inside. It's going to be a problem. And I just want to keep it a little bit outside to not risk crashing. Maybe, yes, you lost the position, but losing the position is a lot better than just losing an entire, than crashing, I would say. So overall, I would say that's probably the smartest move, and it's going to be fun to see with a full full tank, what we can do to start off this race, because I genuinely believe that we can finish this race with a 5-second gap. I 100% believe that. I believe that we are so fast on this track that is 100% possible. The question is, will the concentration levels be such to allow that to be the case? Because unfortunately, my biggest issue a lot of times is basically just I lose concentration and start making dumb mistakes whenever I'm in the lead. Like I seem to actually do better when I'm behind people and then passing them at the very end, because I feel like when you have somebody in front of you, it's easier to focus and it's easier to kind of follow them and understand a little bit of the track, whereas when you're dictating the pace, whether maybe you're pushing a little too hard, or you're not pushing hard enough, or you kind of just get distracted for a split second, it can really cost you a lot. And it is an issue that has to be taken into consideration, because it has been a problem for us in the past. Now, coming through this last corner, I'm usually pretty shit, but I'm trying to get better at it, especially in the race, because I feel like, yeah, as you can see right there, on a qualifying lap, it's not that big of a deal, because worst comes to worst, as we go flying wide, worst comes to worst, if you're just a little bit slower there, you still have the best time, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing a race, you really do need to get the best drive possible coming out of the final corner, and unfortunately that's not really something I'm good at. I'm also really not that good at this corner, but luckily with the double apex, able to save it for the most part pretty much every single time, and able to maintain our lead right here. And like I said, man, like this corner, this is one of my favorite corners in the entire calendar, I would say, because it seems like you hit the brakes, but you just barely need to tap them for a little bit, and then just go through the corner, and it just feels so damn good. Obviously, it's not quite the same on a MotoGP bike, but with a Moto2 bike, it just feels amazing going through it. So I really, really, really love that corner. It's easily one of my favorite corners in the entire on the entire calendar. So really, really happy every time this track comes around nowadays, because it's just so fun to play, which is completely bizarre considering, like I said, how shit the newer ones are usually. But right now we're definitely looking good. Judging on how things go, I would say we're probably not anywhere near as fast in the second and third sectors as we are in the first one. And this final corner, I really do need to nail it, because it's costing us a lot of time, and it really is just like, look at this. We come way too wide out of it, so they're going to get a better drive because they can actually push through the corner, whereas we have to push out of it. You know what I mean? Like, they're pushing through, we're pushing out of it. And Thomas Luthi with the fastest lap of the race, not really surprising there, considering like he's right there every single time, and he gains almost quite a bit in that last sector. He actually takes the lead there too. Thomas Luthi, of all people, being in front of us, that's not acceptable. We don't want to crash him out too hard, definitely not now. It has to be at least like it's a little bit like, oh man, we didn't do it on purpose. You know what I mean? You have to have a little bit of an opportunity to hide the fact that you do it on purpose. So have to keep that in mind. But yeah, man, Thomas Luthi, I feel like if we hadn't crashed him out so many times early on, he probably would have been a legit competitor for the title. So in some ways, I am a little bit annoyed that we kept on crashing him out to start off with, because I would have loved to see a battle between us, Schroeder, and Thomas Luthi to see who would win the championship, because I feel like that would have been, it would have been really, really interesting, because once we get to MotoGP, I don't really see that's going to be the case. I think that if we're going to be battling with anybody, it's going to be one person and one person only, and that is, of course, going to be Marc Marquez. I just don't really see the game throwing in a lot of people competing for titles. I mean, maybe because it's a video game, maybe they'll do that just to try to make things a little bit more interesting, but I don't really think that's going to be the case. But it remains to be seen, and we will definitely relish the opportunity to challenge ourselves against who I consider to be already the greatest of all time. I don't really think there's any doubt that he's going to pass Valentino Rossi's record for the most world championships won. I don't think I don't really think that's going to be in question anytime soon. So I just feel like he probably is already deserving of GOAT status, or at least very, very close to it. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we can do against him once we do get up to MotoGP. And the first season is definitely going to, I don't think we're going to compete for the title in the first season. At least in Moto2, we have arguably the best bike. In MotoGP, that's not really the case. I mean, yes, the KTM is good. It's going to be a decent bike, but it's going to be very, very far off of the Honda, Ducati, and Yamaha. I would say that's pretty much guaranteed. But we're going to do our best, and we're definitely doing our very best right now in Moto2. Just look at this corner, man. It's so fucking fun. I do actually like this track aesthetically too. I don't know, it's just kind of pleasing. I haven't seen that logo Chang in forever, since they were the sponsor of Everton in the Premier League. So it's been a long ass time. I don't know if that's maybe a Thai company. I guess let me know in the comments if you know that as well. And yeah, it's just like Thomas Luthi, like I was saying, like he's a guy who, with his experience, with the fact that he's on a decent bike, he definitely was going to be dangerous for the championship, but we put that to bed pretty early on. Like I said, unfortunately, and it's not really something I aim for. I don't want to crash people out. I don't want to end people's chances of winning championships, because I want to win the championship the fair way, which was just being faster than anybody else. And I guess Thomas Luthi, he's had plenty of opportunities to beat us, and he hasn't really done that at all this season. I mean, here and there, I think he's had like maybe two performances where he's finished above us, but for the most part, he's always been towards 5th position or 4th position. So he's never really been competitive on a consistent basis. So he probably wouldn't have actually been a major threat. I think Schroeder finishes above him almost every race, but still, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened between those two guys competing for that for either 2nd or 1st, which would have been really, really cool. But it is what it is. Joe Roberts, meanwhile, is all the way up to a whopping 29th position. And Marcel Schroeder is down to 7th position. He's battling with Bastianini. Really, really interesting to see what happens with Schroeder, because at this point, any points lost for him could be devastating, as Lowe's is actually passing both Wow, he passed Bastianini and Schroeder. Hell of a battle right there for that 6th position. So it's looking like it's going to be a tough one for Schroeder and a really, really, really good one for us. And it's interesting because maybe, you know, we went from him potentially winning 2 races in a row in Austria and Silverstone to him winning, yes, in Austria, but also having a devastatingly bad last lap. Not as bad as ours, but going from 1st to I think like 6th or 7th. That really cost him a lot of points, and that could be a moment where mentally he just kind of loses the title. Like, you can still attempt to win a championship, but you have to be consistent. And if you're having issues like this, it's not really good for him. Yes, he's back up to 6th, but he doesn't seem to be that close to Fernandez based on the fact that he's not really battling with him or not even attempting passes. So that's pretty bad for him right there. I'm not going to be too hard on the guy, but I'm also not going to sugarcoat the situation. He's in deep shit. He's knee deep in shit creek. As Thomas Luthi continues to lose a little bit of ground, and I feel like he's probably just going to be a little bit too far to actually do anything unless we make a huge mistake, which is always possible. But, you know, we're coming into the part of the track where we're fastest, and I just don't really see him being able to make any ground here. We're going to run a little bit wide, but not wide to where it's going to cause us any issues. This left-hander, well, we actually kind of make a mistake there, but we've gained almost a second in that one sector. So, but we have a 0.2 penalty. Interesting. If we get another penalty, that could all of a sudden open everything up because Luthi is definitely faster here. But it looks like everybody's pretty much bunched up there too for second. So he could be in a fight for second position. Hopefully not Schroeder. Hopefully he's not there. But we've maintained our 2.6 gap. We go through the last couple of quarters, and as always, I yawn. I just can't not yawn. When I'm streaming, I'm recording videos, I'm always yawning for some reason. It's just like a natural thing I have, and it's an issue. As we go through the final corner, we push out of it nicely. We wheelie a little bit, and there you go, a win in Thailand, a hell of a win. It gets us right back in the win column after a couple of iffy performances. I guess on Austria we had a really, really good one actually, but it's always good to get a win over here in Thailand and head into, I think Aragon might be next, either Aragon or Motegi, but I feel like Aragon probably is the next one, and then, you know, we'll be heading towards the end of the championship with Motegi, with Phillip Island, with Sepang, with Valencia, and I might be missing one. I don't think so, but I mean, I might be missing one. Now, we now have an 84-point gap over Schroeder. We have a 146-point gap over Marini, who's about to be passed by Baldassarri for the championship, for that third position. So we're looking really, really good. All our opponents continue to drop a lot of points and continue to make a lot of mistakes. So even when we have bad performance, we're still able to keep ourselves up there, such as in Silverstone. We are definitely going to win the Constructors' Championship. There's just no way in hell we're not. We're just too damn good. We're too solid, and we honestly have the best bike in the grid. Or I guess maybe not, because Schroeder's right there, and Luthi is also oftentimes right there. So maybe we don't necessarily have the best bike on the grid, but we definitely have one of the top 2 or 3 bikes. And it's really, really showing because we're just consistently dominating, and we've developed the bike very nicely. And it's definitely the bike I would say that I've tried so far in the game between all categories where I feel the most comfortable and I feel I'm the best on. So I do love this bike, and I will miss it very much when we go up to MotoGP. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the Grand Prix in Thailand, what you think of the bike, what you think of the track, and just overall where you think we're going to end up in this championship, whether we're going to win it or not. Guys, absolutely, man, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of you guys for supporting me. It means the world to me, and I will see you in the next video.